This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, they got go restart zone to go. Green flag is out and underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
This is the 4th round of the Goat Locker Racing Sports Car Series here at Red Bull Ring. We're back at Spielberg, Austria, at a circuit known for its punishing climbs and descents with its high-speed flowing corners. As a championship battle intensifies, these multi-class drivers must navigate just 10 short, treacherous turns on this short, fast track where a single mistake can end a title charge in an instant. The green flag is coming up. Welcome to the Goat Locker Sports Car Series presented by MK Fire Design right here on B-Speed, your #1 source for online race coverage. I am Ken Huber, and alongside me, I've got my good buddy Jacob Lenke and then Eddie Smith on productions. And of course, our cameras are being provided by Dougie Beard tonight. Hey, welcome back, Jacob. We're at the famous Red Bull Ring.
Yes, indeed. Formerly owned by the, I believe it's currently owned by Red Bull after Dietrich passed away. But it is a classic on the Formula One calendar, a classic and a lot of DTM stuff over the years, and a lot of people really love this track for the variety it throws into any schedule.
Yeah, and you're looking at the track layout right there. It's going to be a fun track to watch. One of my favorites, you look at that first corner there, turn 1, Nicky Lauda. You're going to go driving up into that corner uphill, and then you continue uphill to AMSAG into turn 3, which is another great passing opportunity. And then they're going to start running downhill into another section of the track. 9 and 10 is another treacherous part of the track. 10 getting off, getting the best run as you cross the start-finish line. Going to be very intense here to watch these drivers handle this track tonight. But I guess we have got qualifying done, and we're going to talk about our Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award winner, which since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed to printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children, and they have been with Goat Locker since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified, when they do well, they do good in the community. And we got to thank Jam Printing and Promotion, and your Jam Printing and Promotion Award winner will go to Reagan Carty. Here on the pole with Brendan McDonald going to fight hard there on the outside. We'll start in second. Elijah Toth will start in third, with Logan Threlkeld starting on his outside in fourth. Sammy Yosef will start there in fifth. Jamie Lipke will be on the outside in sixth. Mike Browning will start seventh. Bill Mulfield, eighth. Jason Christen will start in the ninth position. And then we got Tyler Justice will start 10th. Brian Provo, 11th. And Wyatt Dooling will start 12th. And then the last GTP in the field will be Dakota Martin starting 13th.
And for your GT3s, guess who? Austin Cobb, winner of the last 2 races, is going to roll off first. Kahime Murrieta is going to roll off P2. Derek Tierham's P3. Corinne Smith rolling off in 4th. Brandon Ribeiro lines up 5th. Joshua Jackson rolling off P6. Timbo Parker in 7th. Zachary Menace in the Porsche rolls off 8th. Chance Taylor in 9th. And John Houchen rounds out your top 10. Wesley Burke will roll off P11. Timothy Wilms in 12th. Chase Barkas, after a strong showing last week, will roll off 13th. Mike Swartzen in 14th. Alexander Sexauer in 15th. Claire Sisk rolls off P16. Tyler White rolls off 17th. Noah Hogard in 18th. J.R. Schomber in 19th. And rounding out your 20-car GT3 field will be the 27 of Jacob Ellingson.
Yeah, another nice turnout tonight here at Red Bull Ring as the pace car is leading them down here for the final couple of turns before we send them loose. So these drivers had an interesting situation tonight. They basically only had one lap to qualify, and these cars on cold tires are very difficult to handle. And some of our front runners did qualify up front per normal, but there's a bunch of drivers that didn't get a qualifying lap that counted prior to this with only one lap on the book. So any off track or incident that they might have during qualifying just relegated them to the back. So seeing some fast drivers like Jacob Ellingson towards the back, Tyler Justice in the back, Brian Provo in the back without a qualifying run. So some drama already started here at Red Bull Ring tonight.
Well, the drama is only going to escalate as the show gets on. Got a lot of drivers misplaced, probably, but that just means it's going to be a bigger spectacle just watching them move up through the field.
Yeah, and I was mistaken there, too, about Jacob Ellingson not taking a time. The reason Jacob Ellingson didn't take a time is I believe that he's serving a penalty from last week. I'm not sure what it was, but he has to start on the end of the longest line there. So Jacob Ellingson starting from pit lane here this evening, but he's in a fast Mustang, so I expect he'll start charging his way through the field.
I believe he was involved in some extracurricular activity during the race that might have rubbed the officials the wrong way, but he's serving his time this week, and we're going to see him take his way up through the field. This way, I think we're getting ready to go green with the GTPs.
Well, last week in the GTP field, Reagan Carty won the race, and we're going to see what he can do here tonight. Brandon McDonald's no slouch himself there on the outside. Brandon McDonald mowing the grass last week. Hopefully he can keep that John Deere machine on the pavement here tonight. We're about to go green flag racing as the parade car is on pit lane, waiting for the flag man to wave that green flag here on the front stretch. We're going to have to watch him go up the hill. We are green flag racing. And away they go up the hill into Nicky Lauder. We'll see how they handle this first corner on cold tires here.
And the GT3 is getting going just behind him. Everybody's starting to line up single file. They got going right in through turn 10, able to line up on the front stretch and get themselves straightened out turn 1.
Yeah, lots of good battling back there. Everybody getting single file, so some good behavior out there for Red Bull Ring. Back up front with the GTPs. It looked like Brandon McDonald trying to make a pass there for the lead. Couldn't quite get it done. Drops back in behind Reagan Carty. These two guys are nose to tail right now. You see them there on your screen.
Yep, everybody maneuvering through this middle sector, trying to hit their marks as best they can. This is very much a rhythm track like you'd see on the oval circuit as we got a couple of cars off through there.
Yeah, using a little bit of that sand to hold on to that car, so able to hold on to it. I think that might have been Sammy Yosef or Logan Threlkeld. I'm not sure who is off in the sand there, but I think Sammy Yosef out in the Porsche holding on to it. Oh, we got another car out in the sand, some of our GTP cars out there. I'm not sure who that is towards the back there. I think that might be Wyatt Dooling. Yeah, it is. Wyatt Dooling, almost in the sand trap himself. Wyatt Dooling currently running in the 12th position.
Everybody in the GT3 or everybody in the GTP is able to get it squared away. We had one GT3 go around. Brandon Ribeiro dropped 14 spots. So did Joshua Jackson all the way toward the back of the field. Austin Cobb off to an already clean lead.
Yeah, we got some new drivers out there just behind him. Kayame Murarita, I think I got that right. Hails from Mexico, it looks like. New to the series here, we're riding on board with him as he's following Austin Cobb in that GT3. And this is interesting too, Jacob, as we're here at Red Bull Ring where the altitude is higher, but we got a naturally aspirated Corvette up there, or maybe that's supercharged. I think those Corvettes are supercharged.
Yep. One thing's for sure, it's like the variation of the elevation is going to be interesting, especially as they're going over these hills. Depending on what kind of car you have, you got the mid-engine cars up at the front right now. There's some front-engine cars that are further back trying to fight their way forward. It's going to be interesting who gets the better run out of some of these corners.
Yeah, I was just looking here at the Corvette, and I believe that it is naturally aspirated, so it doesn't have a supercharger or turbocharger. But, Cobb is fast out there, and he's got that Porsche chasing him right now, and then it looks like he's got another Corvette just behind him trying to make Derek Tierham's back there in the McLaren, I should say. A very similar colored car to Austin Cobb, but Derek Tierham's also fast. Derek Tierham's had kind of struggled last week. We expected him to be running up front. had an incident in the race, but he's up front here today at Red Bull Ring.
Yes, indeed. I believe Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums are teammates, and they were making a game plan together until Tierums ended up spinning toward the middle, and then Cobb just kind of ran away with it, said, all right, I'll just run up here by myself then. But he's got Murrieta right behind him, and Murrieta has not let off the back bumper of that Corvette since we got this race started.
Yeah, we knew he was going to be fast watching those practice times. Another fast guy out there, Logan Threlkeld, back in the GTP field, currently in third. Up one position, just bringing us back to the GT. Oh, we looked like we might have had an attempt for a pass there as we cut away there. I'm sorry about that, but it looks like that attempt we're back on it right now. Murrieta trying to make a run down the inside as they go downhill into 5 and 6, I believe it is, and got the advantage. And if he can hold him on the outside, Cobb is going to let him go and tuck in behind. A lot of times you could hold the outside and you can get the next advantage going into the next turn, but he elected to fall in line there and follow that Porsche around for a while.
New leader, Kahime Murrieta in the Porsche. One thing I would like to note, there was a lot of gravel on the track in between 4 and 5. They might have to send somebody out to sweep that up.
Yeah, they'll have to do it under a green flag condition, so hopefully nobody gets hurt out there. But anyway, we're watching that lead change. Back to the GTP field, what I was talking about Logan Threlkeld. He has gotten around Samuel Yosef, and I believe that had to do with that incident we seen early. Oh, goes wide there. Of course, we throw the cameras to him, and he's going to mess it up there, but able to save it through ASMAG, I think that's called. Turn 3 is what I like to refer to it. It's an interesting corner because the outside, you can carry a lot of speed, and on the inside, you can get the advantage, but the problem is there's a little bit of a hump there, and you got to be very careful when you lay down the throttle. But looks like Logan Threlkeld is trying to make his way up to that second place position of Brendan McDonald, who currently owns it.
I think he needs to be a little more concerned with Samuel Yosef further behind. These two not too different in the skill level. Yosef a lot newer with the car, but has been showing some really good performances throughout the season so far.
Absolutely. Another interesting note here tonight. Oh, Logan swings it out wide there. You see it on the screen there. I wonder, yeah, that's probably going to be a slowdown. We'll probably see if Samuel Yosef goes by here. Yeah, it looks like he's taking a peek. Logan hasn't slowed down yet, so maybe he's already got it cleared. But what I was going to say is, we changed the rule package a little bit. They're still running fixed setups, or open setups, I should say, but we didn't cover our race analysis at the beginning. But one thing that's changed is fuel. So these drivers now are dealing with 60% fuel when previous races it was 50% fuel. And that meant that the GTPs basically had to make 2 stops every race. And the GT3s was a maybe situation. Most of the time they could make it halfway, but occasionally on the bigger tracks they would have to make a 2-stop race. But now with 60% fuel, now we're talking about the GTPs maybe making it on 1 stop, and maybe for some of the bigger tracks making it a 2-stop. So some strategies are changing out there that these guys are going to have to get used to.
It's going to be a lot more interesting to see where that pit stop is taken, depending on whether you think you're good to the end or not. You're going to have to pull through at some point, and everybody's going to be looking at that ticker trying to figure out when.
Looking at Wyatt Dooling in the GTP right now, and currently running 12th, and he's got Dakota Martin. Oh, I'm looking at Wyatt Dooling off track just as we went to him. Boy, that's some bad luck there. Through the sand. He's got that thing parked. Not sure what happened there.
It looked like it might have been a mechanical failure. He took a straight line through the gravel, and he is opted to tow. It looks like he's wiggling a little bit through the corner, trying to fight for position. I think that might have been Bill Mulfield further behind. Yep, he just straightens it out and just holds it there. He's got his brakes on, but it looks like that it might be day done for the 007.
And we got some leaders, some of the GTP field going through the GT3s, some close calls there. I believe that was Logan Threlkeld. Yes, it is. Making their way through the GT3 field. That just shows you how small this track is and how tight it is. And that allows Samuel Yosef just up there behind him. So, and Elijah Toth back there as well. So looking like a 3-car GTP battle shaping up here. Just ahead of them, they've got Brandon Ribeiro. I think that's how you pronounce it, but he's up there in a GTP in that Mercedes, in that yellow Mercedes that they're working their way around right now.
Yes, Ribeiro had to make a drive-through to serve penalty for avoidable contact, so he's a little bit further back than I'm sure he would want to be right now. The GTPs make it past, and it looks like it has been confirmed. Wyatt Dooling, when we took a look at him go through the gravel, his wheel did disconnect, but his pedals were working, so he was able to take it off the track safely, and has opted to call it a night.
I figured it was his cat knocked over his beer or something while he was driving and had to pull off. So that's usually what happens to me. But we're back on this GT3 battle right now. And Kahimi Murrieta is owning this field right now, but he's got a close follower there, Austin Cobb in that Corvette. And let's not forget about Derek Tierham's having a strong night so far.
Yep, Tierham's just sitting a little bit further back, letting his teammate deal with the newcomer. Tierham's just looking up front, looking. It's like, yeah, you were so good through the first 3 races. Let's see how you are with this one. And Murrieta looks like he's just in his element, rolling as much as he can to try and get through the just go through his paces and keep it going from here. As I think he might have had, Samuel Joseph in the GTP class ended up going around momentarily.
Well, it's interesting that those two guys are teammates because one of them is running a Corvette and the other is running a McLaren. And this is open setup, so it isn't like you can share a lot of notes because the setups are quite a bit different between those two cars, even though they're both mid-engine cars. So we're going to go back and take a look at a replay here. I think it's an incident that happened earlier.
This is just now Samuel Joseph battling Logan Threlkeld for position in the GTP class. Oh, he just locks it up, it looks like, and it just switches. I have never seen a throw around that bad.
Well, that's a lot of rear brake bias. So what happens there in these GTP cars, they're so dependent. And so you end up putting a lot of bias in the car with a lot of rear downforce. But once that downforce leaves when you're in a braking zone and you don't start modulating that brake pedal, that's exactly what happens. And that's what these GTPs are so treacherously known for.
I don't know if I wanted to say flip or throw or spin or anything in that moment. It was just so violent and so sudden. He did get it back going, but he is significantly further back on Toth and Threlkeld now.
Yeah, he's going to need some Tide to clean out those drawers. Where's Eddie Smith in that Tide machine when you need him? But anyway, we're back with Brian Provo and Jamie Lipke. So another battle with the GTPs. This is something that's kind of exciting here. We haven't seen for a while. A lot of good battles on the track with the GTPs. You got Jamie Lipke just ahead of Brian Provo there, or Brian Provo there. I was looking at the wrong scoring there. So Brian Provo trying to get past as they work their way around some GT3 traffic. Both those drivers having a solid night so far.
Yep, on board with Provo. Gets a little too much of that outer part of the curve there as they make their way through turns 9 and 10 onto the front stretch. Past another GT3, Provo might have a run going into 1 if he's a little bold.
Going into Nicky Lauder there, and talk about being bold. He got right up on the back. Oh, kisses the back of Jamie Lipke there, holds it together. Now they're going to race uphill. They got a GT3 just ahead of them, and that's Jacob Ellingson in that Mustang. And Jacob's going to get out of the way. We'll see how they work this braking zone, and it looks like he's going to back it off there. Brian Provo's going to back it off just a little bit there and maybe save some momentum for later on.
We just had some more heavy contact in the GTP field. It's going to be a constant for tonight. Tyler Justice and Mike Browning contact through turn 1, it looked like. And I think Justice might have towed.
That's unfortunate for Tyler Justice. He was having a decent night. We're going to go back and take a look and see exactly what happened here. Going downhill into the final couple of corners here. And this is a very tricky end of the track. You got some GT3 traffic up there. And you have to get a good exit here. And it looks like maybe checking up just a little bit. They split the GT3 car. Headed up into Nicky Lauder here. Lauder up through the front stretch. We'll see what happens here. Oh, and the same thing, like Samuel Joseph locks up the rear end and yeah, tows it. I'm sure he feels bad about that, getting into that other car there, but unfortunate incident there for Tyler Justice.
Justice tows. Provo made a move on Jamie Lipke there with the GT3 traffic to help get that position to Brian Provo.
Yep, moved Brian Provo up to 6th spot. He started in 11th, and we were talking about that Brian Provo did not get a qualifying lap in, and so he is moving up for the field. We've seen him do this before. He's got some lap traffic. He's got some GT3 traffic. That's Zachary Menace he's going by right now, and it looks like Timbo Parker just ahead of them in that BMW.
Both the GTPs look like they're getting through clean. Jamie Lipke's got all to do to try and get back up to that Brian Provo machine because it is moving.
Well, trying to find a break in the action so we can talk about some of our sponsors is always hard to do in this exciting sports car series, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to talk about GLR Pit Crew, which is a great thing that Goat Locker introduced this year. The GLR Pit Crew program is a monthly giving initiative designed to provide consistent, meaningful support in our fight against PTSD, mental health struggles, and suicide in the veteran and first responder community. When you join, you're not just making a donation, you're becoming a part of a team. The team that keeps its mission moving forward. Learn more, join today at goatlockerracing.org and click on the Pit Crew banner there on the website there. It's a great program. It's only, I believe, $20 a month. You get a t-shirt, I think it is, and it's pretty cool that you're helping out the veterans and first responders here and at Goat Locker Racing as well.
It's a more cost-effective way to be able to give back on a regular basis, and it gets you a lot of information on events and such that Goat Locker is participating in or putting on. So I think it's a great deal.
Well, we're currently looking at riding on board with Zachary Menace there. He's putting all kinds of pressure on Wesley Burke just ahead of him. Wesley Burke in that BMW. Zachary Menace in the Porsche. Got a GTP going by on the outside there. You can see it there, but there was a bit of a battle shaping up there between those two drivers. Thought Zachary was really going to send it down into the corner there, but both those drivers battling it out here. It's the BMW versus Porsche.
Yep, two
German cars, one front engine, one rear engine, so both opposite ends of the spectrum here.
We're seeing these two duel through the middle sector of the Red Bull ring here, getting through toward the back end of the track. We're riding on board with Burke, going through turns 9 and 10 right now as they get up toward the front stretch. And it's a really good look at how close these cars can get on this track.
Yeah, and that's a very fun corner. When you hit it right, it's just one of those places that you just love going around. You're watching Michael Browning go by in the GTP, but it's a very fun corner. This track, just about every corner I actually love. It's fun to get around this place. I think the drivers all have a good time. That's why we have large fields. Oh, and it looks like we might have a connection issue there. It looks like Wesley Burke is back. So Wesley Burke having some connection struggles at the moment. Hopefully those will clear, but this battle still continues to intensify there.
Kept in a good position to be able to hold off Menace on that corner. Wesley Burke did without being able to see his opponents on track. I'm sure we saw them blink out momentarily, but he held that middle line perfectly.
Yeah, getting through here, about the best battle on the track right at the moment. There's a couple other battles going on. I'm looking at Corin Smith and Timbo Parker, but we're watching this one here. Zachary Menace took another peek there at the inside of Wesley Burke. Oh, drives that Porsche off into the sand. Have to gather that thing back up and get the marbles off those tires and try to charge down into the last couple of turns here, 9 and 10.
Able to get it gathered back up, and they're right back on the back bumper of the 04 of Wesley Burke. Burke up 5 positions, Menace up 1, and these two have been at odds all season long.
And this is one of the things, as long as you're hitting the marks, it's very difficult to pass here. And you can see there Zachary Menace or Wesley Burke trying to defend this position. Now, Nicky Lauder, you can get up here and you can get a run on the outside. But it looks like we're going to try the crossover here. Yep, the crossover going uphill. And now this is where Menace is going to have to be very careful because he's going to have the inside lane here, which you would think is the advantage. But there's a bit of a hard corner, and there's a bump right at the apex. And so if you over throttle, it looks like it's just going to surrender the position there and make it easy for Menace.
It's a lot tighter than 90 degrees up at the top of that hill there through Amsag. Menace able to get that position off of Wesley Burke as they got another GTP coming up behind them to try and split them.
Yeah, you see that GTP there looking at Kahame Murarita, I'll get that name. I always struggle with names the first time, and I'm doing it right now. Continuing to lead this GT3 field, got Austin Cobb just behind him. All kinds of traffic. We've got a lot of cars that they're dealing with right now.
Yep, they're passing the Ferrari of Claire Sisk. It looked like, we got a big move toward the outside from Austin Cobb trying to get the position on Murrieta. Murrieta able to keep it in there as Tyrrams is now on the back bumper of the Corvette.
That's what I was talking about, that outside lane there going through Nicky Lauder. Could sometimes work for you. It didn't work that time, but you can see he's putting the pressure on, and that's what you need to do. We'll see if Austin could put more pressure on here, but this is that corner you got to be very careful on. But that McLaren of Derek Tyrrams is starting to show some strength right now as well.
Tyrrams was able to hold back a little bit, watch these two fight. He's got a game plan now. He's like, all right, I'm going to go up and I'm going to try a move or two to try and get past these guys. And maybe if there's some more traffic further up, I'll make it and I'll get through for that second spot.
What I've noticed, driving GT3s, and I spent a lot of time in the Corvette. The Corvette and the Ferrari are probably my top two cars, as well as the Lamborghini is what I like to drive. But what I noticed about the Porsche will fade over a long run just a little bit, and I think that has to do with the rear engine. And I think if Austin Cobb could just stay back there in his tire tracks for much of this race, get through the pit cycle, maybe beat him on the pit stop, might have an advantage here. We'll have to wait and see. We know Kahame Murarita is new to the series, so we don't know what he's got for these guys as well, as we're watching some more GTP traffic go by here. Jason Kristen going by in that green GTP, but looking at Reagan Carty, well, we're going back here.
And it's going to be interesting to see who makes that stop when, who's going to try for the undercut or the overcut to get that position, because that's probably what it's going to take here with the changes in the fuel, as we're on board with Mike Browning trying to chase down that car in front.
Yeah, and that GTP definitely split those cars up just a little bit. It allowed our leader to get a little bit of breathing room over Austin Cobb. So you can see those two teammates down there trying to chase Kahame back down in that Porsche. But I believe that they will do it. It's just bad timing on where the GTP caught him. And that's kind of one of the neat things about multi-class racing is you kind of got to time your moves out. And you just don't know what kind of good luck you're going to have or bad luck. And right now our leader might have had some good luck with the GTP traffic. The next time by, it might be bad luck.
Yep. Speaking of traffic, taking a look at Jacob Ellingson right here. He's made his way all the way up into the 8th spot in the GT3s. He's got Chase Barkas right behind him, and another one, Joshua Jackson, our Week 1 winner, making a move to the inside of the 710 machine, and is currently side by side trying to keep that position for himself.
Yeah, if you remember, Joshua Jackson won that race on fuel strategy, was one of the few GT3 drivers that did it on one stop. Joshua Jackson getting that position in that Porsche. Jacob Ellingson, though, what a drive in that Mustang, coming up from dead last all the way up into the 9th or 8th position right now.
Well, from the beginning, like, he had to start dead last because of that penalty. He's been driving angry. He's been pushing that Mustang as hard as he can, getting as many positions as everybody's willing to give him, and he is probably going to settle himself out in a top 5 before the end of this one.
But it's Jacob Ellingson, so I think every time he's out there, he's driving angry. So I don't think this is anything special for Jacob Ellingson, but he's got Brandon McDonald just behind him, the second-place GTP driver, going around right now there in the John Deere machine, headed uphill into turn 3 there. So, but Jacob, quite a drive there in that Mustang.
Yep, and we got a good onboard perspective of just how undulating this track is. Seeing the top of the hill up in turn 3, watching him go downhill now toward turn 4 and 5, and you can see just how, like, you can see the hillsides on the outside of the track, and you're watching right now just how many hills this track has been built up on. It's a challenge for anybody that's ever been here. Yeah, and you just watched him go through Roch there, and that's actually one of the most oversteery parts of the track, where you get down on the brakes, you're going downhill, and the car does want to over-rotate a little bit, so you got to be very careful, even with the fixed setup. But all these drivers getting through there really well, and this is one of the fastest parts of the track here.
and keeping your momentum up. But, something else that's really interesting, Jacob, is the pit lane entry here. You have to time your pit lane entry. You have to be thinking way ahead of time, because right now they're if you could overshoot your pit lane by not paying attention to where that entry is, and if you're on the last lap and you can make it, you could be running yourself out of fuel if you miss it.
More importantly, you could be running yourself into someone else. There are points where we have seen like professional drivers taking the turn into the pit lane out of turn 9, but there are other people behind not knowing that they're going down, so they just run right into them as the speed difference catches up to them.
Well, being that we're getting close to that halfway mark, it's going to be really interesting keeping our eye on the GTP field, because with the new fuel strategy, 60% fuel, I'm going to be really curious if these GTPs can make it on one stop. They're going to be probably really close. They're going to be where the GT3s were the last few races. So I don't know. I'm not sitting in those cars. We'll have to wait and see. There might be some gamesmanship going on with fuel strategy as well. So you never know who might be holding on to a little bit.
But I know who's holding on really well right now. Our GT3 leader, Kahime Murrieta, has stepped out to over a second over Austin Cobb, leaving him to battle with Derek Tierums.
Yeah, and I think, once they got broken up there from that GTP traffic, that allowed some breathing room for our leader there of Kahime Murrieta. And you can see him going by a lap car there. That's Tyler White in another Porsche there. Might have slowed him down just a little bit, but Austin Cobb now 1.3 behind, so kind of actually slowed up the second place driver just once more, and just bad luck on catching that traffic.
Everybody just trying to make it to that pit stop right now. A little over 5 minutes. Murrieta barely clipping that gravel. A little over 5 minutes until we hit the halfway point in this one, so we might see some people start pulling down here soon.
Yeah, and I think Murrieta wanted to lengthen out that lead a little bit more, starting to drive that Porsche really hard right now. Knows that pit cycle is coming up, wants to create some distance and make sure he's got a clean pit entry here. But I imagine we'll probably see the GT3 field start making pit stops in about 6 minutes. The GTP field is going to be the real interesting part here, as we are coming up on the halfway point.
Murrieta back in a comfortable lead. Austin Cobb running second. Derek Tierums in third. Timbo Parker up 3 spots, running fourth. Corinne Smith in fifth. That is the top 5 in the GT3 field. Why don't you take us through the GTPs right now?
Well, I was just going to say, you're looking at the 2 leaders on your screen right now. You got Reagan Carty going by the leader of the GT3 machine, Kahame Murrieta. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. But then you got Brandon McDonald running second in the GTP field, so doing a fine job out there. He's about almost 10 seconds behind our leader. And then you got Elijah Toth back there in third, having a strong run out there as well. So all these guys out there hoping to get on the podium tonight, but never want to count out Logan Threlkeld, just a couple seconds behind Elijah there. You can see him there, Logan Threlkeld out there trying to put the power down. And look at that, Sammy Yosef, after that incident, making his way back towards Logan Threlkeld. So these 3 cars are coming back together just when it counts.
A lot of good drivers in this GTP field getting a hang of the car over the first few races, and we might see the biggest battle we've seen all season long coming up with Toth Threlkeld and Yosef. Maybe Brian Provo in the mix as well.
So I'm watching our leader, Reagan Carty, dominating this thing right now. Just goes by pit lane here. So if he can make it 2 more laps, it looks like a 1-stopper for our GTP field, at least for our leader. So far, we'll see if he goes by next time. So this is when it's going to matter here, as we're watching all kinds of stuff happening here on the front stretch there with our leaders. Cobb, all kinds of traffic. Austin Cobb and just was really hairy back there running in that second place in the GT3 field. Just, I think they got it all sorted out, but it was close.
Bill Mofield navigating through the field of GT3s as we got our first taker for pit stops in the GTP field. Samuel Yosef taking the pits on just a few minutes before halfway.
Now, this doesn't mean that he can't make it. So, the one thing I don't know is how much fuel he had when he came into pit lane. He might be trying to overcut some of those drivers that are in front of him, or this could be that he's just out of fuel. I'm watching. Take a look at our leader right now. He's coming down the hill towards pit lane. I want to see if our leader ducks onto pit lane. 32 minutes into this race, so this is going to be kind of telling here. And our leader is going by. So there you go. You're looking at it. Reagan Carty skips by pit lane once again. That's going to take us to the halfway point. However, depending on when that timer comes out, I don't know if he can, like I said, he's going to have to make it at least one more lap to be safe.
And Joseph spending a total of 41 seconds on pit road for that stop puts him back in P9. Carty's going to have, I wouldn't say Carty's got a shot to lap him, but he's definitely on those fresh tires. Joseph is going to start stepping away as we're taking a look at another battle further back for the 5th position.
Yeah, looking at Ellingson right now. Ellingson running in 6th in that Mustang. Got Wesley Burke just ahead of him there. So Wesley Burke running in that black and white BMW. Ellingson showing quite a bit of prowess out here tonight. Man, I'm really impressed with the way Ellingson is performing in this GT3 field tonight. So it's too bad he was unable to take a qualifying lap. He could be up there challenging. He was very fast during practice. Going through the final turn here, turn 10, going to try to get a run on the BMW Wesley Burke. Looks like he has a little bit of a run going up the hill to Nicky Lauder. Can he get it done? And it looks like he's got the advantage. And we'll see if the crossover here. No, Wesley's just going to tuck in behind and as they head up towards turn 3.
Pushes it into the top 5. Wesley's going to have a little bit of a toe off the back of that Mustang as they get up towards turn 3.
So we had a couple more cars on pit lane. I believe Swartzen was on. Jason Kristen is on pit lane as well.
Yep, Brennan McDonald, our second place runner, ended up taking his stop as well. 44 seconds in the pit lane for them. Meanwhile, Corinne Smith, the GT3s, on the pit lane as well, as we might see everybody come take their stops here in a few laps.
Well, our leader, Reagan Carty, stayed out once again. So there you're looking at him. Got some GT3 traffic in front of him. That's Mike Swartzen just ahead of him. Timothy Wilms coming up next there. It looks like that he's going to be able to definitely do it on one stop. I don't know about our other drivers. Pretty much it looks like everybody, Elijah Toth is now on pit lane. So right just past the halfway point.
Yep, Toth, Threlkeld, Provo running 2, 3, and 4, all pulling their cars down into the pit lane while Reagan Carty continues looping it around this track. We'll see if Carty tries to make that stop at the end of this one.
I think this is must-do right now for this GTP. He's going to have to get this thing onto pit lane. You can see it's going to be tricky there. You got to catch the corner. He's on pit lane, so our leader now headed to get his service done for the one and only time, I imagine, tonight. So able to make it clearly past the halfway, so I think he's definitely safe.
Yep, Reagan Carty on pit road, and it looks like the rest of the GTP field is going to make their stop here. Carty's going to have a large buffer to try and get back going over McDonald and Toth.
Yeah, there's some long stops out there. I'm looking at Logan Threlkeld still on pit lane. Looks like Mike Browning on pit lane, so I don't know. I guess they're fixing damage perhaps. There you can see Logan Threlkeld leaving his pit stall, so I don't know why he was so slow on pit lane. So maybe he had a bad pit entry and claimed the wall or something, but that was a very slow pit stop for Logan Threlkeld.
Might have had some contact.
It was actually
earlier.
It was a minute 5 in the box, so God, just spent an incredible amount of time on pit lane. He was having such a good night too.
He's got everything put back together on that one right now. Taking a look at the 011 of Elijah Toth as they're navigating some of the GT3 traffic, trying to chase down the car, trying to chase down the car in front of Samuel Yosef right behind.
Yeah, we're riding on board with Samuel Yosef there. You can see Elijah Toth there, just ahead of him there in that blue and white GTP as they go into Nicky Lauder here. I'm going to swing this car.
Yeah. Oh, goodness! What happened?
We'll have to go back and take a look. Reagan Carty, our leader on pit exit. I don't know what exactly happened, just a jumble. Yeah, all Yeah, I guess these cars are taking a longer stop than I expected. We're going back to take a look and see what happened on his exit here. So this is was our leader, Reagan Carty, exiting pit lane here. Might have just got caught up in somebody else's mess just ahead of him there. I see some, yeah. So there's a couple of GTPs just ahead of him there that spun out.
Was
We're right
Mike,
on board with him.
Yeah, that was Mike Browning in front of the pit exit there. Carty able to navigate through everybody, but he ended up having a super long stop like Threlkel did. And that has just set him back even further as Brendan McDonald has taken a firm grasp on this race.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder, it could be off-track penalties too. I'm not really sure, but that is crazy on these long pit stops. So hadn't seen that before, but Reagan Carty very fast out there. So he has got he's got some time to make up right now. So we'll see how good of a driver he is trying to make his way back up through the field here. But hey, new leader there, Brendan McDonald out there in the John Deere machine. So far, he's kept it off the lawn, so doing it right. Keep it out of the sand, keep it off the lawn, and that John Deere machine will do fine for you there, Brendan McDonald. So we'll see how he does and see if anybody can chase him down here tonight. Elijah Toth running currently in that second position, 19 seconds behind him. So quite a ways back, but with the way this race is going, you never know what could happen. Brendan McDonald can find himself in some unlucky traffic there. You can see it looks like he's coming up on Derek Tierhams there, who is in third in the GT3 field. Speaking of which there, Jacob, we should take a look at the GT3 field because it looks like some times have really separated themselves. Oh
no! Heavy contact. That's both Derek Tierhams and Austin Cobb. I think Cobb just towed off of that one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I can see Cobb is still on the track. Or no, that's Sexauer. I thought it was Cobb. We're going back to take a look here. We're looking at Derek Tierhams here. Got GTP. That's our leader there of Brendan McDonald going by. They go down into turn 10 here. Oh, his teammate is spun there in the Corvette. Austin Cobb was spun out, came around the corner, didn't see it, and just plowed into him. So unfortunate events for two teammates out there on the track tonight.
Murrieta pulled it into the pits. Cobb tried to back it down, but locked it up. Spun it on the exit of turn 9. And Tierhams was trying to continue on the lap. Tried to take it a little bit wider, and they just made some unfortunate contact as that has thrown the complexion of this race all sorts of ways. Tierhams is currently marked in the lead of the GT3 field, but I don't think he's going to be able to continue with missing that front end. Murrieta is going to inherit the lead as he comes out of the pits.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
There's another.
Yeah, he's not able to keep that car even on the track at this point. There's just no downforce on the front there. We're seeing all kinds. This is one of the things I talked about early in the race there, Jacob, is that pit lane entry is very tricky. And you see that's exactly what happened to Cobb there. And now his teammate there, Tierhams, going through the sand. That car is a handful right now. He's got to get down and get that quick repair and get back out there.
Yep. Tierhams is still marked as the GT3 leader, but Murrieta with all 4 tires still rolling and a front end on that machine is going to bypass him here. Now Tierhams makes it safely into the pit entrance, and I think that might be that's going to be a fast repair done, and I think that might be race over in terms of trying to fight for this win for Tierhams.
Yeah, he's going to need some incredible Christmas cookies to come back from this one, but what a change of events back there. We're looking at Wesley Burke, though, right now. Wesley Burke has not had those struggles, and Wesley Burke, though, is trying to hold off a strong Zachary Minnis back there in that purple Porsche. So we've seen these two battle earlier on in the race, and now they're back together. So we'll see how this battle unfolds as the night progresses. We'll see if Zachary Minnis can try to get back by Wesley Burke once again now that the pit cycles are done.
Meanwhile, Austin Cobb back up to speed, trying to fight through these guys to try and take down as much of this gap as he can to Murrieta now. He's going to have to fight his way through this mid-pack. The mid-pack of the GT3s has been the closest and most consistent battle throughout the most of this part of the year. as we're seeing Austin Cobb trying to track down Joshua Jackson and Zachary Minnis.
Yeah, they'll head up here to turn 3 here, and we'll see if what he can do, Cobb can do going up the hill here. Now he's got that Corvette fixed. See if he can get a run off the corner. Oh, he gets into the back. He gets into the back of that car, and so Austin Cobb getting into Joshua Jackson. Both these guys are race winners, so both of them are really fast. And it looks like perhaps that there might be a black flag issue here.
Yep, that was a black flag to Austin Cobb. I believe that might have been too many incident points from the heavy contact to the off track. And just that contact right there going through turn 1 might have sealed the deal, as Austin Cobb's got to drive through. He's already had a lot to make up. He's going to make up even more. Reagan Carty making his way up past Samuel Yosef with 21 minutes left to try and battle back and salvage a podium.
Yeah, currently watching Reagan Carty is right behind, just past Jacob Ellingson in the GT3 field there. Reagan Carty trying to make up some distance here that he lost. Very fast driver out there, but he's going to have his hands full if he's going to win this thing. He is like 20-some seconds back, 21 seconds. You can see it there on your screen, trying to run these drivers down. He's got 20 minutes to do it. He might make up a position or two, but I don't know. Getting to Brendan McDonald is going to be a tough ask.
If there's anybody on track right now that can do it, we saw him get out to almost a 40-second lead last week.
Oh,
This track in particular might be like a little bit insurmountable, but Carty's lapping almost over a second faster than McDonald is in the back half of this one. Neither of them have to make another stop in this one, as long as they're not like super pushing toward the end of this. I think Carty might have a shot.
Yeah, well, we'll see. That's what we're here for. Reagan Carty's now up to 3rd now, looking at Elijah Toth. I think he's definitely going to catch Toth. You can see Toth just ahead of him as they're going by some GT3 traffic. I believe that's Timbo Parker that they just went by. So Timbo Parker back there in that Porsche. But Reagan Carty putting the hammer down, trying to catch Toth there just ahead of him. Similar paint schemes, actually identical paint schemes. Are those two guys teammates?
I would imagine if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, Ken, I think it might be a duck. Those two probably are teammates, but Carty is going to show him no love as he gets up to him, because he wants this lead back. He wants to try and get this win.
Yeah, and doing a fine job of it. I have no doubt that he will catch that driver. It's going to be that 011's job to try to defend the best they can, but that driver, Reagan Carty's so fast, I don't know. And we're watching him go through turn 3 here, and it looks like Reagan had to back off just a little bit, and that's that exit, that lower exit. You can't stand on the throttle like you want to. We'll see what he does going downhill into 5 here. And another tough braking zone. Going to ride it up on the curve and try to swing it around to the outside. Nope, going to defend. So you see Toth defending that position. And that's what he's got to do. But he got that GT3 traffic just ahead of him. And that's Derek Tierham's just ahead of him, who had that incident there with his teammate. But both those drivers getting by him. And it looks like now they're looking at Dakota Martin, who's a lap down in the GTP field, that are just ahead of him there, riding on board with Reagan Carty. It looks like Dakota's going to let everybody by.
Very close call. When they were trying to get around Tierham's there, Carty is still locked to the back of Toth, moving their way down through 9 and 10 onto the front stretch. Carty's going to have a tow. Might not make it into turn 1, but is going to have a run into turns 2 and 3.
And this is what Brendan McDonald, our leader of the GTP field, needs to see. He likes to see these two guys racing. Toth doing his best to defend a really fast driver in Reagan Carty. So, the longer that this battle happens, the more that Brendan McDonald can ease a sigh of relief. But that sigh of relief is now over. Looks like Reagan Carty has gotten by Toth, and now he can set his sights on Brendan McDonald.
Can he make up a 20-second deficit is the hot button question right now with less than 18 minutes left. That's over. That's got to be. Oh, no!
Reagan Carty spins there. He gathers it back up. He'll have to make another run at it. So I'm going to say no, Jacob. He can't do it now at this point. That was a big mistake there. And so now he's going to have to go back and try to battle Toth again. And, you know, since that just happened and we got a little bit of a breather in the action, and, you know, we've both been talking about racing, there's another organization that likes to talk about racing. Do you have another sponsor there, Jacob, we can talk about?
Yes, I do. And I don't think Goat Locker, or I think we would be remiss if we talked about Goat Locker and we didn't mention HEYL Media. Above the yellow line media, we cover everything you love about motorsports, from F1 and IndyCar to NASCAR, short tracks, and even virtual racing. We celebrate the sport's rich history, explore its exciting future, and enjoy every moment in between. And on ATYL Media on Thursdays, you can also catch Goat Talk with our very own Eddie Smith.
Yeah, and that's the chance you get to hear Eddie Smith talk, because he's in the booth tonight. Well, he's in production tonight. He doesn't get to talk. He gets to talk to us, but he doesn't get to talk to you folks. So we get to keep Eddie quiet tonight as we're watching. Looks like Jamie Lipke has an incident out there on the track. She had some issues with that car. I'm going to go back and take a look. Going through, it looks like turn 7 here. And yeah, the car just steps out. That is a very popular spot for the GTPs to spin out. Very difficult for those particular cars. GT3s don't usually have the issue there, but I've seen it many a times where the GTPs struggle. You're on the accelerator, you haven't quite got the downforce that you need, and that rear end will just step out on you as we're watching this battle. We seen earlier there, Wesley Burke now back under pressure there from our week 1 winner of Joshua Jackson just behind Wesley there.
Yeah, both of them letting Bill Mofeld by on the outside of this corner here. Wesley Burke still keeping that Porsche ahead, and lurking in the background is that car we were talking about earlier. That is the 27 of Jacob Ellingson tracking down this battle.
Mr. Angry back there in the Mustang, and my favorite pony. He's out there trying to run down that other Mustang and a Porsche right now, and he's doing it. You can see him closing in there in that multicolored Mustang back there. As we're watching the Toth battle here again. Toth trying to defend from Reagan Carty here. Reagan Carty took a look to the inside. No doing, going up into 3, so able to defend that position. But these guys are still 20 seconds behind our leader, so that's leaving Brendan McDonald out there to run by himself while these two guys battle for the top 2 podium spots. Who's going to be on that second position?
Tell you what, though, for as much as we have said about Reagan Carty being as dominant as he has over the past race and a half until that unfortunate incident, very close call with the Porsche there. I believe that's a lap car, Chance Taylor. Elijah Toth has been defending incredibly through this, using the GT3 traffic as beneficial as he can to hold on to this second spot in class and keep Carty at the disadvantage. As we got another GTP around, that stopped traffic.
Yeah, and that allowed Joshua Jackson to get by and get a position, but we're still watching this battle for second in the GTP field. But there was some action going further back in the field there with another GTP. We're going to go back and take a look and see how Joshua Jackson gained that position.
Elijah Toth still holding firm in the position in front of Reagan Carty through 1. I think we might see another move into turn 2 here as Carty is locked onto the back of that Cadillac of Elijah Toth. Yep, jumps to the inside, doesn't take the move, and just locks back up to the back end. Tries to look to the inside, and he's got the inside position leading down into 4.
Yeah, definitely got the advantage going into the 4. Sometimes that outside lane could work, but this is also the same corner he made the mistake in. So he's got to be very careful on the brake. He doesn't want to do it again. He's going to get by cleanly, run to the outside, and then that cuts off Toth's momentum to get on the inside on the next quarter. So Carty, move him up to second.
All right, we're going to take a look at that replay from earlier. That was Dakota Martin in the GTP. This is going down into the, I believe this is
turn 3.
Yep, turn 3, up that front stretch uphill, and it just pulls Jacob Ellingson, and I believe that was Logan Threlkeld, to a screeching halt there.
Yeah,
watching on board with Ellingson. Yep. Oh.
So that was a tough break for both those drivers. And the thing about it is the GTPs tend to not be any faster in the corners than the GT3s. And I think that caught Ellingson off guard, and he had to come to a full stop there. So he lost a bunch of time, and he was chasing. And while that was all going on, Joshua Jackson was able to get by Wesley Burke. So all kinds of action on the track there. You can see Jacob Ellingson, you move him back to the 8th position there. So definitely not what he wanted to see.
Yeah, Ellingson lost that position to Austin Cobb, who's pulled it back. Meanwhile, Brennan McDonald, with 12 minutes left, has a 17-second gap over Reagan Carty. Carty still lapping super fast in that machine, trying to catch up to this lead here. Almost 2 seconds faster than Carty on the previous lap. So I think he might still have some in it.
Yeah, he might. We're watching, it looks like Brendan McDonald split those, going right down the middle of the GT3 field, going by Cobb and a couple other drivers there. He's got Ellingson back there and John Hoochin, who we haven't talked about tonight, though, but able to get by those GT3s, taking no prisoners. He knows he has to drive fast. He knows how fast Reagan Carty is. So he is putting the hammer down in that machine and trying to make sure that Reagan Carty cannot catch him.
Yep, getting down towards 10 minutes left in this one. We said that Carty was going to need to lap about a little over a second and a half a lap faster than McDonald to try and catch him, and that was before the spin past Elijah Toth. McDonald's got a little bit of a comfortable lead here, but he can't stop looking at that relative to see Carty trying to catch back up to him. As we've got a couple of black flags up in the top 5 of the GT3 field, Derek Tierums and Zachary Minnis going to have to pull those cars down pit road.
Unbelievable. Both those drivers having really good nights. Derek Tierums, had that issue with his teammate, fought it back to second place, and is going to end up going onto pit lane to serve another penalty. That's one of the things about Red Bull here. The off-track tracks and the incident points will just eat you alive if you're not careful, and I think they've fallen victim here tonight at Red Bull Ring. Well, the nice thing about pit lane, is a lot of good mechanics out there. And how do you become a good mechanic? Well, you can use Lincoln Tech for one example. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supporting, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They're the title sponsor of the Spring Series and a very large part of Goat Locker Racing, and we're always proud to have Goat Locker or Lincoln Tech part of us here each and every week.
Yep, happy to have Goat Locker too. Lincoln Tech, one of the bigger sponsors that we have here at Goat Locker, always been a very faithful and generous contributor to this cause. Taking a look at Brendan McDonald here, less than 10 minutes to go. Only 14 seconds now, the gap from him to Reagan Carty.
Now, here's the thing, Jacob, that I've been thinking about here. So if you remember that pit cycle, Reagan Carty was the longest, or was able to stay out longer than any of the other GTPs. So Brendan McDonald came in a lap sooner. And depending on where this timer comes out, I think that's the only way that Reagan Carty has a shot at this thing, is if Brendan McDonald gets set up with an extra lap that he wasn't counting on. So, which could happen because we don't race by laps here, we race by the clock. And so there has to probably be about a minute 15 on the clock. Well, actually over a minute 20 on the clock before he gets the white flag. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, depending on where that white flag comes out, he could be short on fuel. We'll have to wait and see.
It is going to be a show for sure. As that last lap, Carty ran into some lap traffic of the GT3s, ended up going a little less than the delta that he was shooting for to try and catch McDonald here. Still 14 and a half seconds to the leader in the GTP class.
The one advantage that McDonald has, though, is being out there with a sizable lead. It's not probably as big as he'd like against somebody like Reagan Carty, but at least he can back it down a little bit. If he is a little short on fuel, maybe let Reagan Carty catch up a little bit and maybe let that timer fall a little bit sooner. But we'll have to wait and see. So we've got 8 minutes to go and another few laps, probably be able to identify when that white flag is going to come out. But Brendan McDonald holding on to it for all it's worth here as we're watching Austin Cobb back there. It looks like with Zachary Minnis just ahead of him there. Or no, that's Wesley Burke, in the BMW. So that 04 machine there, trying to hold on, trying to defend that position. So Corvette on the outside, and it's not really a good position to try to pass on. but might be able to get the undercut going through 10 here. And this is one of the penalties you pay for trying to defend that position. And we'll see if this Corvette gets a run. That BMW likes to cut a big hole in the air as they head up towards Niki Lauda.
If not through turn 1, it looks like the 04 is going to be able to hold that off. If not through turn 1, Cobb might have a run into 3 as they get up the hill, locked to the back bumper of that BMW, trying to get as much air as he can. Goes to the outside of the corner. Wesley going to back it off and try and defend that inside.
Yeah, Cobb looked at the outside, couldn't get it done there. Going down here into Rouch, we'll see what happens. We got some GTP traffic going by right now, but see if he can get a run down into the Rouch here. I don't know. There's the outside. This is the move I like. I like what Cobb does here. This will work if you can keep it side by side going into the next corner. And it looks like, he's just about got a car off the track. Derek Tierms again with some struggles out there. But back to this battle, this is what I was talking about. I like that move that Cobb made. It's exactly what he needed to do. He should have him clear in this next corner here. And he does, yeah. So Wesley Burke has to back off. That's what you call a power move, and that's what you do here at Red Bull Ring.
Cobb has shown that he has been the car to beat in the GT3 series. His teammate having another black flag after that contact. Tierm's going to have to pull it back into the pit lane. Austin Cobb back up into 4th after some early issues.
Yeah, wow. Quite a battle there. Or quite some drama out there. We're going back and we're taking a look at Derek Tierms here. And this is that corner. Car gets a little sketchy back there, gets a little bit of sand under those rear tires and sends that McLaren around. So struggles all night long for that driver.
Heavy contact with that barrier and is pulling it down for that drive-through right now. Already having used his fast repair, and Murrieta up to 56 seconds over Timbo Parker in P2 for a solid and definitive GT3 lead.
Yeah, and that is a solid lead, and that's where you can sit back and take a breather right now. You can see Tierms just ahead of him exiting pit lane. He's just going to let him go. He's not really fighting the leader, even though he's very fast. He'll probably ride back there and see if he can make up any positions, but yeah, tough break for that driver. But no, not a tough break for the 131. He has been solid all night long, brand new to the series. Might pull off his first win here tonight there, Jacob, in the GT3 series. And we like to see multiple winners in both these series.
Won't be the first time. I'm sure it certainly won't be the last, but having another winner in the GT3 series would put him up there with Austin Cobb, with Derek Tierms, with Cody McElwain, who we saw fighting for that lead and that trying to get that win in week 1. But he has put on a good show tonight. He's minimized his mistakes, and that has been the key to stepping it out as much as he has over the course of this race.
Absolutely. Well, Brendan McDonald, also one of those drivers up front in first place right now. Probably thought he was going to be fighting for second tonight, but after Reagan Carty has his issues on that pit lane exit, he's kind of breathing maybe a sigh of relief right now. It looks like maybe next time by, we're looking at the timer here. It looks like maybe 3 to go next time by. So we'll have to see how everything shakes out for that driver, if an extra lap gets added to this race or not, and whether he can make it. But he's got about 10 seconds, under 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds, and that gap is quickly evaporating right now. So might need to pick it up just a little bit there and not let Reagan Carty catch you, because if he does, he's going to be super strong.
The only thing McDonald should be thinking right now, and I'm sure it's what's been on his mind ever since he saw Reagan Carty's number getting smaller, get out of my way. He doesn't want to run into any more GT3 traffic than he has to. He needs to keep that gap to McCarty down, because Carty was 2.2 seconds faster on that last lap than McDonald, and the gap's already down to 7.5.
Yeah, and that's catching that traffic in turn 3 there. He caught Barkus and Jamie Lipke there, and that really slowed him down. And he kept his cool. He didn't force the issue, and was able to get by those two drivers. And you never know, Reagan McCarty might have to deal with those same two drivers in another corner and slow him down. But Brendan McDonald is catching the GT3 traffic in all the wrong spots right now. Looking at another car right there, Mike Swartzen. He just gets around. So A little bit of nail biting right now for that John Deere machine.
Gap is getting to under 7 seconds right now. Watching Brennan McDonald make his way through turn 10 onto the front stretch. 6.5 seconds behind is Reagan Carty, and he is flying to try and get back up there.
Well, looking at the timer, we got 2 minutes to go, so that means they're safe. So next time by will be white flag for Brendan McDonald. And that's an important factor. You know, he's able to get that done, so it doesn't look like we'll get an extra lap added to this race. So I think Brendan McDonald might be able to make this thing. So now he's just got to do it on speed right now and keep Reagan Carty back there. But Reagan Carty is a-coming, but it's still going to be a tough pull to do it in 2 laps. It's going to be over 3 seconds a lap he's going to need to make up.
Taking a look at a battle that we have here for the second spot in GT3. Joshua Jackson holding off the 789 of Timbo Parker.
One of those drivers we haven't talked too much about, but Timbo Parker, we might get to talk to him in the booth tonight. That'd be nice. Both those Porsches having a solid night. They're currently running second and third. You got the GTP car, just Jason Kristen just behind him there. Yeah, great battle there for the second place position. And Joshua Jackson, it seems like what started in...
Carty's off.
Oh.
Sorry. Just watched our second place runner in the GTP field go off into the gravel through the middle sector. That's going to kill his run. He was just under 6 seconds behind our leader in Brennan McDonald, maybe pushing a little too hard.
Yeah, I think that's he's pushing hard to get to Brendan McDonald, and this is that same corner. This is where the GTPs really struggle with rear downforce in that corner, and I think he could see that he was catching him and was trying to put a lot of pressure on him. Maybe Brendan would make a mistake seeing him come, but I think Brendan, all he has to do now is just hold on to it. We are on the white flag lap, the glove station white flag lap, no less. Looking at Brendan McDonald, our current leader, just having a solid night. Is it coming down into Rouch here? If he can hold it clean here for just a couple more corners here, going to have Sexauer let him by cleanly. We should have a new race winner here in the GTP field, as long as he doesn't try to mow any grass here with that John Deere machine.
Yep, he was upset the past couple times that we've had races in this series. It was Terry Crouch at first, and then Reagan Carty came in second place, as all McDonald was fighting for, and I think he's going to be a little happier this week.
I might be mistaken there. I might have called out the white flag lap a little too early. I'm looking at this right now. Oh no, it is. So yeah, checkered flag for Brendan McDonald. First time race winner here this season in the GTP field. Great job there for Brendan.
Meanwhile, just having passed the start-finish line after the leader, the GTP leader, Brendan McDonald, Kahime Murrieta wins on debut in the GT3 class, and we still have a battle going on for the second spot. Timbo Parker just under half a second behind Joshua Jackson as they make their way through the middle sector.
Yeah, probably the best battle here. We'll watch it to the end here. The last battle for the podium spots. The second, third spot GTP are locked up. We got Reagan Carty second, Sammy Yosef third, but this battle for the podium here in the GT3 here, you're looking at it right now. Joshua Jackson up ahead there in that green and gold Porsche. And then you got Timbo Parker back there trying to run him down, but it looks like that Porsche is starting to escape.
Yep, tracking all the way back through out of turn 8 into turns 9 and 10. Parker's not going to have enough in it to get back to Jackson on the exit toward the front stretch. It looks like Joshua Jackson is going to add to an already impressive season with a P2 in class. Timbo Parker takes home the final spot on the podium.
Wow, that was an exciting race at Red Bull Ring. We expected it. That's what we got. A lot of surprises here tonight. Well, I got to tell you what, folks, we're going to talk to all top 3 drivers of each series here tonight just after a short commercial break. We'll be right back with you with your unofficial results, and we'll talk to those drivers.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
We are back live at Red Bull Ring. What a race we had. Hey, first time winner here in the GTP field. Brendan McDonald takes it home for the first time, so he's probably very happy that John Deere machine makes it out front. Reagan Carty with some chasing some adversity tonight on pit lane there, finishes second. Sammy Yosef with a heck of a run. We'll be talking to him tonight there in third. Elijah Toth will finish fourth. Logan Threlkeld finishes fifth. Jamie Lipke sixth. Bill Mofield finishes seventh. Jason Kristen eighth. Mike Browning ninth. And Dakota Martin will finish 10th. And it looks like Brian Provo had a tough night, will finish 11th. And then Tyler Justice 12th after that penalty. And Wyatt Julian will wrap up your GTP field.
And in the GT3s, we have a first-time driver, first-time winner in Kahime Murrieta. Joshua Jackson and Timbo Parker minimizing their mistakes to take home P2 and P3 in class. Austin Cobb, after an early issue with Derek Tierums, finishes fourth and battles back to a great finish. Wesley Burke finishes fifth. Zachary Minison sixth. Jacob Ellingson from the back of the field finishes seventh. Derek Tierums in eighth. Timothy Wilms finishes ninth, and Chase Barkus rounds out the top 10. In P11, we got J.R. Schomber, another first-time driver. Chance Taylor finishes 12th. John Houchin in 13th. Mike Swartzen finishes P14. Alexander Sexauer in 15th. Claire Sisk 16th. Brandon Ribeiro in 17th. Corinne Smith in 18th. Tyler White in 19th. And Noah Hogard finishes in P20.
Well, I think that is it for our field, our unofficial results. So why don't we bring up our race winner there, see if we got a copy there. So, hey, Brendan McDonald, this is Ken Huber and Jacob Linke in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Ken.
Hey, what a race. I know you were probably started this race thinking, I'm racing for second place, but you inherited the lead after pit stops and you never looked back. So tell us about your race tonight.
What are you trying to say, Ken? Am I not fast? No, I'm just kidding. No, that's exactly what I thought. Reagan's that fast. He had a penalty. I'm sure he'll tell you about it. It was a little sketchy entering pit lane, but it worked out for me. Fuel was such a scary issue. I don't know if you guys saw my lap times. I was 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than I was in the first stint, just trying to save. I crossed the finish line with 0.2 laps left. So it is what it is, but it's a great win. Really happy to finally get my first one. We go again.
No, we did catch the fuel issue and figured that might be the case, that you might had to back it down and save. So I'm glad we called that. And with the 60% fuel, how did that change your strategy coming into tonight's race? Because I know you guys usually think it's a 2-stop race. Then tonight, all of a sudden, you had 60% fuel at one of these shorter tracks. Were you planning on saving that fuel at the start of this race?
I didn't really prepare very well. With that being said, though, it's a short lap, but you're on the throttle for most of it. So it's the way it works out is you're still actually burning a lot more than you would at some other places. It also messed with the tire strategy because when we were on 50%, we would always take tires, or most of us would take tires on that first stop just to have a fresh set since we know we have to stop anyways. And the way the amount of time it takes for tires and fuel is about equal on a full tank. So, anyways, it did require some different strategies, but it worked out well for me, I guess. So I'm not going to complain.
It certainly did. Well, congrats on your win here tonight. Look forward to see what you can do next week, and I won't undercut you when it comes to karting next week. How about that? But
No,
anyway, who do you have to
you
thank for
probably
getting you
should.
here tonight?
Yeah, thanks. Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Design, and Zat Graphics, the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, InVets, ATYL, and Throttle Works Racing.
Well, there you have it. That was Brendan McConnell out there with his first win of the season. We'll see what he can do next week.
Meanwhile, I am standing by with our winner in the GT3 class, Kahime Murrieta. This is Jake Linky in the booth, mi tienes?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right, sir. We saw you battling up at the front through a majority of the first sector of this race with Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums. Take us through some of those battles.
Austin Cobb is a fast driver, and he was definitely keeping me honest there for a little bit. I have no idea what happened to him, but it was really fun. Sent it to him on the top of the hill into the hairpin, and just got a better drive out, and then just basically kind of was a little consistent, and then ran away with it from there.
Yep, you put yourself in a position where you minimize mistakes and ended up ultimately running away with this one. Over a minute between you and Joshua Jackson in second. A dominant win. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step of the podium?
Just got to thank MK Fire Designs and Zat Graphics, like Lincoln Tech, Save 22. All those guys are really good people. Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, InVet, and ATYL. They're all great people that sponsor this beautiful league. So shout out to them.
Well, we look forward to seeing more great battles with you up front. Congrats on the win. We'll see you next week, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, why don't I talk to the second place finisher there in the GTP field? Hey, Reagan Carty, this is Ken Huber in the booth with Jacob Blenke. You got a copy?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, so, well, you led the first half of the race, but then things kind of fell apart. Why don't you talk us through that second part of your race there?
Man, ever since the pit entry was just downfall, I just entered the pits way too quick. I had to like cut across, and I got a unsafe entry, which was like 34 seconds, I believe, in the box. And then as well with the people who were sideways on the pit exit was not ideal to say the least. And at the end of the race, it said I had rear end damage. I don't know how badly, but or where I got it from, but I'm guessing from there.
Well, not to worry because we captured all your adversity on the cameras tonight, so everybody was able to watch some of your struggles there. But you had a very fast car out there. You were running our leader down. Then towards the last couple of laps there, you had a spin out there. One of the more difficult corners for the GTP field. Talk about that corner in the GTP and what it's like going through there because I noticed that it's really hard to keep the rear downforce on that car in that particular corner.
Yeah, I mean, even with the lack of downforce, just because it's like medium speed, but it's just not enough for it to actually do anything with the aero that we've got. And you're lighting up your rear tire already going through the corner before, and it's just kind of like a mixed match of both of those. So you just got to try and get it pinpoint, and if you don't, well, you see what happens if you don't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, second place is better than third place. So, no offense to the third place driver, but great job, great drive trying to make that comeback tonight. Who do you have to thank for getting you here?
Again, for Throttle Works Racing for letting me drive under their name. Do appreciate that again. And shout out to Jam Printing and Promotions, uh, MK Fire Design, and Zap Graphics, V Speed, and Alexander's PCs, Cruising Classics, and GTR Simulators.
All right. Well, see you next week there, Reagan. So there you have it. That was Reagan Carty, our second place finisher there in the GTP field.
Meanwhile, I am standing by with our second place finisher in the GT3 series, Joshua Jackson. This is Jake Lenke with Ken Huber in the booth. You got a copy?
Good copy.
You were another one of our drivers that minimized mistakes. You got through the race, majority of it unscathed, and we even saw the closest battle on track between you and Timbo at the end. Take us through it.
Oh, at the beginning of the race, I actually messed up. I forgot to take my qualifying set off. And so last minute, I had to jump out of the car and put the race set in. But by the time I got back in the car, I actually missed the start. So I had to start from the pits. And I just took it one lap at a time and slowly worked my way back up.
Yep, and you certainly showed it from ending up starting in the pits after everybody's gone past to finishing second in class after some issues by the front runners. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the second spot of the podium?
I just want to thank all the sponsors that make all this stuff happen. Jam Painting and Promotions, MK Fire Design and Zach Graphics, V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, and GTR Simulators. And I also want to thank my wife for allowing me to do this hobby. So
Yes, sir. Biggest fans and biggest promoters of everybody being able to race here tonight. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week, sir.
guys,
All right. Well, I guess it's time for me to talk to somebody I've been waiting to talk to for a while there. Samuel Yosef, Ken Huber in the booth, along with Jacob Lemke. You got a copy.
Hey Ken, what's going on?
Hey, well, nice drive tonight, finishing in that third place. You know, at the start of the race, you ended up in the sand a little bit there in that Porsche. But talk us through your race, and what a great job getting up from fifth up to third. And you're racing some pretty fast guys out there.
Yeah, I just switched over to GTP, got challenged by the team to try it out. So Imola was what it is, and then still trying to get used to the braking on this. And I think I heard you say that you put a little bit too much pressure, and I did have it rearwards. It spun the car in a pirouette, so learned my lesson on that. I just kind of took it easy, and then just like Brennan, I had the fuel issue. I tried to do the undercut and I was just saving my fuel and hoping something would happen. And luckily enough, when my teammate kind of gave me that position due to a mistake, I was there when it needed to be and took away a third.
Well, you did a great job, and glad to have you on here in the podium. And I finally get to talk to you. So great job. But looking forward to seeing what you could do next week. Who do you have to thank you for getting you on this third spot?
Yeah, iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motions, Harpoon Designs, love their stuff. Zach Graphics, and and our team TWR 1 2 3 4 for the finish. So shout out to the boys. Great job tonight.
All right. Well, there you have it. That was Samuel Yosef, our third place finisher there in the Porsche in the GTP.
And I am standing by with our third place finisher from the GT3, Timbo Parker. This is Jake Lanky in the booth with Ken Huber. You got a copy?
And pace, loud and clear.
I will be the first to admit something. I don't think we said your name all night. You were just consistent, just rattling off your laps. You minimized your mistakes, and that ended up being the key for a lot of people to have a really good result tonight. Take us through that race.
Well, this is not a race that I expected to have this high of a finish coming into. I don't think I have ever raced at this track in any game, let alone iRacing. I bought it for this series, and so I'm just happy that I'm survived and we made it through. And yeah, as the leaders in front of me started falling, I just kept in mind the words of Sun Tzu: when your enemy is making a mistake, do not interrupt them.
Very wise words to live by, and that put you in a very prime spot on the podium. Who do you have to thank for putting you there?
I love to thank iRacing, the developers of this game, as well as M&K Fire Design, Sim Motion, Harpoon Designs, Zat Graphics, and a special shout out to ThrottleWorks Racing and Samuel Eggy, who could not be here today, but I know he was watching the broadcast.
Yes, indeed. And again, a very special thank you to Sun Tzu for those words of wisdom. For Timbo Parker, first podium in Goat Locker. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week.
Well, Jacob, that was an exciting race. Wow, Red Bull never disappoints here. But another track that I think I heard you last week talk about, Spa coming up next week. One of your favorites there, Jacob.
Yeah, I am so excited for that race, and it is too bad that I am not going to be here for it. Someone's going to have to cover down in the booth for me, but I am assured that it is going to be a very fun race, and it is going to be our first rain race, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, rain is in the forecast, so don't know what it's exactly going to do, but it sure make it exciting. Sometimes we get a little bit of rain, sometimes we get a lot, sometimes we get none. So, the only way you're going to find out is to tune into V-Speed here next week on Tuesday night at the same time and check out and see what happens there at Spa. But yeah, it's going to be exciting nonetheless, whether you're here or not there, Jacob, but certainly going to miss you next week. Anyway, with that said, I think we'll close it out. So, tonight's race has been brought to you by MK Fire Design. Been a wonderful sponsor of this series. Glad to have them on board. But I'm Ken Huber, and I got Jacob Lemke, been alongside me all night long with Eddie Smith producing, Dougie Beard on cameras. With that said, make sure you check us out tomorrow night. Me and Jacob are going to be back covering the Next Gen series, the Premier Series here, same time, same channel. Check out that race. Looking forward to that one. But with all that said, good night, everybody. We'll see you here next week at Spa.